Hey everyone, Nick and Sam from Griot's Garage, and thank you for joining us for our first ever YouTube Live Ask Us Anything session. A lot of our customers, you guys included, have asked us to do something like this, and we get a ton of questions from you all the time. In fact, a lot of the same questions, so we thought this would be a perfect time for us to address some of those really common questions. Obviously, a lot of you have submitted questions to us from Instagram and Facebook, and just through our normal customer service portals. So we're going to see if you like this format, and if so, we'll keep doing it. So make sure you throw us a like if you're enjoying this video, comment below during this live session, and we're going to get to your questions as you submit them. So please participate, and we'll give you everything we can until we're out of gas and we got to call it a day and go home.
Don't be shy.
Yeah.
All right, so to start off, we got a question from Porsche Kid on Instagram. Do you have people in charge of planning the scents of your products, or is it just a byproduct of the natural formula? Now, that's an awesome question. We get lots of compliments and sometimes complaints on our fragrances, but we always do the best to put fragrances in the products that people are going to like, and they're going to improve your user experience. But to answer that question directly, we do have a team of people that help select the fragrances. Our whole product development team has a hand in that. When we're working on a formula, we'll typically start out with a couple fragrances potentially. Sometimes they might be related to the color of the product or just a fragrance that one of the developers liked and thought would fit well. And then we'll test those fragrances with that formula. Sometimes you have issues with compatibility, how it mixes in, things like that, and we have to go back to the drawing board. So some formulas are harder than others when it comes to the fragrance, but we find it very important to add those good fragrances, those pleasant smells to our products to increase the user experience when you're at home using it in your garage or at your professional shop.
Yeah, and we do have one specialist in particular, part of our chemical team in Indianapolis. So Jackie, if you're watching, we appreciate you. But yeah, generally, my dad is very, very particular about scents, and we've all kind of developed the same nose. But we want you to enjoy using the product, so keep that feedback coming. We know it's an important part of our chemicals.
Yeah. Bottom line, if Richard doesn't like it, it doesn't go in the product.
Yeah. Okay, this one comes to us from D. Babar on Instagram. I probably butchered that, but it's okay. Your thoughts on more stores, and will we see you at Legends of the Audubon in August? The second part of that question is yes, we will be at Legends of the Audubon. That is part of our partnership with the BMW Car Club of America. It's an awesome weekend in Monterey. If you're in the Bay Area or in California in general, it's open admission. You should go to that show. Stores in general, we have our main flagship store here in Tacoma. It is fully decked out. It is way more square footage than we would ever need to replicate that model in other cities. However, part of what makes it so special is that we have our car care school and a museum as part of that store, and 350 parking stalls, so we can have a car show any day of the week, anytime we want. So it's hard to find that perfect property, and to be honest, we've explored it many times, and it is definitely part of our future. But in the meantime, we have a huge network of wholesalers that do carry our entire product line. I know that was the core of your question, D. Babar, was how can I get your complete product line as soon as possible? So we do have that section on our website where you can check out where to find all that. But believe me when I say that if we could do exactly what we do here in Tacoma everywhere in the country, we'll do it. It's going to take some time and definitely a lot of investment in capital, but we want to bring what we do so well to you.
Awesome question. So next, we've got a good one. This one comes in pretty frequently. I actually talked to a customer in our retail store about this today. But which pad to buff off the wax? Why don't you offer a pad to buff off the polish or wax? And can I use the microfiber pad to buff off the wax? So a lot of guys, you like the waxing process, but buffing it off isn't all that enjoyable. Can be time consuming. We used to sell a bonnet system for removing polish and wax. For those of you customers that have been around a while, you may be familiar with that. The reason that we stopped selling that and we don't typically promote wiping off or removing polished or wax with an orbital and a pad is because you've already perfected the surface at that point. Using an orbital and a dry pad on a surface that has already been perfected does leave some risks there that you may impart defects into the finish that you've already perfected and applied protection to, which you obviously don't want to do. The other reason is that a lot of times when you remove a polish or a wax residue with a machine, you're not getting the residue completely off. You'll have small sections that you may have missed, corners that you couldn't get the machine into, and so on. So typically, if you do it with a machine, you're gonna have to come back by hand anyways. So you'll save time just doing the hand process. It's safer, it's more relaxing. Typically, believe it or not, it's gonna be less labor intensive doing it by hand. If you got a bad rotator cuff or something, it might be a little more painful for you. But you'll save time and energy in the long run because you're not going to be putting defects back in the finish and having to come back with a second process.
It's also less things that you need to buy and maintain and wash, and that is really, I mean, those bonnets, at some point they become frustrating because they pick up so much wax, and you do introduce some heat, so you don't know if you're lifting your bonded protectant off that. So there are tools out there. We've just moved away simply because we found a better practice, and we hope you follow us. So.
Yeah, that was a good point about the product becoming saturated. With a bonnet or a pad removing wax, it's going to get full. You're going to have to swap it out quick. With a towel, you can flip it to a fresh side and keep working.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so we're getting some questions in from you all. This is a funny one. Where is Richard? Don't ever see him on videos anymore. Well, Richard, or Ricardo, as I like to call him, has worked a lot of hours in this building and still shows up to work every day. He has his hands in many aspects of our business, and actually he's quite shy in front of a camera, so that may surprise you, but he still likes to peek his head in every once in a while, and he's still very much in charge of the show and doing quite a bit for the company. So we'll tell him you want to see more of him. I'm sure he'll be happy to hear that.
You can be confident he's here a lot more than you think he is behind the scenes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a quick question as well. Rob G writes to us from Facebook about our 63 Lincoln Continental that we debuted at SEMA last year. Was that Lincoln purchased from the Tacoma area before restoration? The answer is no. That car was bought in the Baltimore, Maryland area, and the gentleman that it was purchased from had purchased it from the second owner who had owned it from 1967 up until 2014 when he sold it to this other guy who was a Lincoln enthusiast who saw it, didn't want to restore it, and guess what? We just happened to benefit from that. It was a perfectly complete car, but everything needed to be touched. So it made its way all the way across the country, and it's gone all the way around the country in 2018 doing some Good Guys shows. So if you haven't seen it, it's now living up here permanently in Tacoma, and it's done. And it's its new home here on the West Coast.
Easily one of my favorite cars.
Thank you, Dave.
We got another good question on the live here. Is it necessary to periodically strip glass sealant off of the front window? That's a good one, especially this time of year. A lot of people are using lots of glass sealant. Typically, if you're staying with our glass sealant, you don't have to strip it off. Situations where you'd benefit from stripping it off before applying a new product would be if there's contaminant present. If it's been a while since you've clayed or decontaminated the windshield, you can benefit from doing that, which will help strip the glass sealant off as well. Polishing is the most effective way to strip it off, using our fine glass polish. That's typically the quickest and easiest and the most guaranteed way that it's completely gone. There are some chemicals out there that will strip it, but sometimes those can take longer and they don't always strip it completely. So if you do want to get it all the way off, I recommend our fine glass polish. But if you're just reapplying our glass sealant, it's not necessary to completely strip it unless you need to decontaminate or remove water spots or something.
Yeah,
It's
important to note how thin our glass sealant is too. It doesn't build up. Some products, there's a big name one out there that uses a lot of silicone to create that same beading and sheeting effect. That will build up, and you may actually need to strip it every time. But we even recommend layering that product as part of the initial process. So just to mirror what Sam said, no real need to strip it unless you're seeking to strip it. That's not the same for every glass sealant. So
True.
if you're using a different product, you might want to check their best practices, but for our glass sealant, it's not necessary. Okay, you got anything spicy on there?
Let's see. Getting a lot of good ones. Here we go. I have a freshly polished 94 F-150 with very thin white paint. What should I top it with? So it sounds like he's already polished it. If your defects are already out, you don't quite have to worry about the thickness of the paint anymore. But
yeah, I mean, I think at that point, one, you've got a forgiving color in white. If your truck is a original paint system, obviously paint is finite, so you will eventually run out of it. I don't know what early 90s Ford clear coats are like, but on a truck, I can probably bet that you're hanging on to dear life for that thing if you aren't already through it. So depending on the nature of the truck, we just default to you know what the use of your car is. So if it's daily driven car, opt for something that's synthetic and abrasive free, such as liquid gloss polywax. If it's your show queen, which if it's a truck you've had for that long and you love it to death, put some carnauba wax on it in the summertime, let it shine to its full potential. If you believe that you have enough paint on it to maybe clarify it and improve it a little bit, an all-in-one product, such as liquid wax 3-in-1 or one-step sealant, mild abrasives paired with that protectant that you're looking for. That'll give you a nice refresh without cutting off too much paint and worrying about running through your color code.
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I have a 97 Land Cruiser that also has thin paint. I take it on the trails, it gets scratched up. I like to use our all-in-one products like liquid wax 3-in-1 or one-step sealant because I can still get some of those defects out, but I know I'm not going so aggressive that I'm going to thin the paint out even further. So, good way to go.
All right. So we had a question come in through our call center concerning new paint jobs on 2018 and 2019 cars. Wondering what type of polish or approach to take on that new car. Now, if you've been watching our live events in the past, I pretty much ranted for 45 minutes about dealership and their general care of your car. That's the same for any car that you buy off the lot that you don't insist upon, kind of a no-touch delivery. That they're going to go through the same cleaning process, and you're most likely, even if it's a brand new car, you're probably going to see swirl marks or some kind of wash-induced scratch from a commercial washing practice. And in that case, a brand new car is going to have as much clear coat as it ever will at that moment in time. And if you see imperfections, you can minimize those imperfections right away with really any process you'd like. Obviously, we recommend to start with a gentle process first, see if that improves it. If you're gonna go coat your car or put a clear bra on it, you're gonna wanna do a more extensive correction process, make sure that surface is defect-free before any of those toppers would be applied.
Awesome. Great answer there, Nick. Looks like we got another good one that just came in. Tony from Hawaii. Hey, Tony. He says, I use Bestest spray wax, recent convert of rinseless wash and wax. I use Bestest spray wax after for that extra pop. What are your thoughts? That is an awesome method there, Tony. I like using Bestest spray wax after every wash, whether it be rinseless or a standard car wash. It's going to add, pretty robust protection for a spray product and give you that extra gloss, color, and depth that you're looking for. So there's no reason not to do that at all. You're adding protection with the rinseless and then going over it again with the Bestest spray wax. Those products are perfectly compatible with one another. So that's a great way to add some protection and some value to your rinseless process.
That'll also, allow you to see the beading effects of both of those products just be exacerbated. I mean, you're gonna really exaggerate, maybe. Maybe that's the word I was looking for. Exaggerate the beading, and just again, it's a quick process that just keeps your paint protected, especially in the winter. I mean, you can really rarely have too much carnauba protection on your paint, and you're just keeping it looking better and better. And if you take that much pride in your car, kudos, you're one of us.
Absolutely. Good segue from that question. The next one is, what's the best way to keep my car clean and in shape during the rainy Pacific Northwest season? So referring to that last question, one of my favorite products to use for washing my car this time of year is our rinseless wash and wax, because you can do it in the comfort of your garage. Don't have to worry about getting freezing cold outside or getting rained on mid-wash or something like that. And it's also going to add protection to the vehicle as well, specifically if you use it in the 15:1 dilution. That adds very stout protection for a spray product. So the rinseless wash and wax is a great way to go in your garage. If you want to stay out of the elements, do it inside, and you want it relatively quick. If you want to do a more in-depth wash, the foaming system is also a great way for cars that aren't being washed frequently and are getting really, really dirty. Kind of hit the reset button during the winter, get them perfectly fresh and clean with the foaming system, and then maintain them from there with a product like rinseless or spray-on car wash.
Yeah, Sam likes to wash indoors. I'm the weirdo that will wash out in the rain, so the foaming system and its dwell time doesn't really help me because the rain's rinsing it all away. Yep. But yeah, I mean, the idea of washing indoors is a pretty nice thing for a wet winter month. Our spray-on car wash has been a long-time favorite, but again, that rinseless wash and wax, you kind of knock out both. You get to clean your car, add a little bit of carnauba behind. By the time that carnauba is breaking down, you better be washing your car again. At least it's a good indicator that it's ready to be washed again, because you probably have that dirt and film buildup that's blocking that carnauba from doing its job.
Yep, absolutely. Another thing to add to that is using products like Bestest spray wax, spray-on wax, anything to add that extra layer of protection that's going to help protect against de-icers, road salt, stuff like that, as well as keep your car cleaner longer so that it's looking better and you don't have to wash it as frequently. All of those spray-on protection products, Bestest Detailer as a quick detail spray for in between your washes, will add value and give you more time between those washes.
Okay.
Oh, got this one a few times, so we should probably tackle it. But the infamous question of, are you going to release a ceramic coating in the near future? Question of 2018.
Yeah. Well, so one thing that's really important to note with regards to this question, and if you guys are fans of our products, you should know this by now, but we take a ton of pride in the fact that we are a manufacturer. We are not a rebottler. Everything is developed in-house. We have a full team of chemists. We're not simply signing off on a formula. We're literally taking it from the ground up and developing it. Now, we have product lines and mixers and all sorts of infrastructure related to generating every chemical that you now experience from Griot's Garage in our facility. So part of our limitation with regards to ceramic coating is that we have not set up our manufacturing to create something that is that difficult to manufacture. Now, without disparaging any of our competition, there are very few actual manufacturers of coatings in the world. There are tons of rebottled coatings. That is the mood of the market right now. So everybody has a coating, and quite frankly, we could do that very easily. That is just not in the spirit of our company. We want to be sure that when we put our name on a bottle, that we have approved it, we have developed it, that it is the exceptional quality that you've come to expect from us. And we are investing in the infrastructure to develop a coating. I can't promise a delivery date at this point in time, but I want to guarantee that once it comes out, you'll know it and you'll enjoy it, and we believe it will be the very best.
Yeah, that's the important thing to remember. When we do, you'll definitely want to buy it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. This is a good one. It's a little bit related to one of the last winter washing questions, but do you wash your car weekly in the winter, and if so, how? That's a tough one. Depending on where you live, washing your car up here weekly, you're going to be spending quite a bit of time, but it is possible. Depending on the vehicle, how often it's driven and stuff like that will factor into that decision. But yes, you can wash your car weekly. Easiest way to do it is rinseless wash in a garage. If you don't have a garage, I like to tell people to go down to your local do-it-yourself car wash. Don't you dare touch the brushes or the soap or any of that stuff. Rinse the car down with the pressure water, spend a couple bucks, and then have your rinseless wash and wax there. It's nice and covered. You've got the heavy contaminant off. Do the rinseless wash in the do-it-yourself car wash. Take home a clean car.
Yeah, you might think that just because of where we work, that is literally our singular obsession. And granted, we work on cars every day. And unfortunately, we can't necessarily work on our cars every day because we're testing products on the litany of cars that arrive in our facility. So I will raise my hand and say, during the winter in Washington State, I do not wash my car every week. But I would love to. I'd love to live in California. But I also like skiing and the beautiful environment that we live in. So there are some trade-offs here. But yeah, like Sam said, if you're determined to do it and you have a great garage space for that, it's easy enough to do. It simply just takes the time and dedication that maintaining a car does. And we all know that very well.
Yeah, washing your car outside weekly, especially if you live in the Pacific Northwest, is next to impossible unless you really like getting wet a lot.
Yeah, soaking, wet, freezing, cold, not feeling your fingers and toes. All the joys. Okay, I've got one. Kind of piggyback.
Yeah, get going.
What do you do on the weekends, Sam?
All right.
Coming from King Walt on Instagram.
Well, that depends. I do have 2 kids at home. I like to spend a lot of time with them. I love to go camping and off-roading and get use out of my Land Cruiser when I can. Getting outdoors is my other big passion outside of cars and car care. So I like to get out, camp, hike, off-road, whatever I can do outside, whether it's taking the kids to the park for an hour or going on a weekend excursion. Also really like just spending time with friends. After having kids, you don't get to do quite as much of that. So luckily I can call a lot of my coworkers friends, get to hang out with them during the week. But getting to spend time with those friends I don't see all the time anymore.
Yeah, I'd say for me, when I'm not doing something automotive related, I'm definitely trying to maximize the use of the environment in which we live. During the summertime, we're boating on a lake or fishing, and in the wintertime trying to snowboard. But I spent a ton of time, believe it or not, in my family's garage that I grew up in, where we've restored cars, where all my friends tend to come and congregate and change their oil and leave their discard oil there for me to get rid of at some point in time. I brew beer there. We grow our own hops, so right about September when we're harvesting our own hops, we're putting them away, and it's like a huge processing facility where everybody's shirtless with latex gloves. You've seen the scene somewhere on TV. But they're actual hops that will be used in beer production later in the year. So I keep my interests as broad as possible, but I'm also preparing for my first child. So I've been managing, getting our house together and getting everything ready for that. So, and I'm sure my weekends will change drastically as I've heard from you, sharing an office with you every day. So
it entails a lot. Yeah, the car maintenance is a big one too. I just spent the last 2 weekends redoing the front end on my Land Cruiser, so brake job turned into much bigger than a brake job.
I've also been removing a vinyl wrap from my old E30 M3. If you have a car you care about, don't vinyl wrap it. That's my recommendation. What a pain in the ass. All right, let's see. I've got one that was submitted to us through the call center. When and why do you use iron and fallout remover? Now, iron and fallout remover is a product we launched about 2 years ago. It is a decontamination step meant to break down ferrous metals, embedded contaminants within your paint surface that may not be removed from a simple decontamination step, such as, or as we like to call, a mechanical decontamination step, such as using a clay bar or one of our surface prep tools. So you can use it in addition to your clay or surface prep step in order to break down those materials so A, they don't get embedded within something that has a lifespan such as a clay bar, and B, simply break down things that that a clay bar or surface prep material doesn't pick up. It's just another way to ensure that the surface that you're going to do generally a more significant correction step to is contaminant free. Especially if you live in like a heavy industrial area like us in Tacoma. If you live somewhere down by the port or by railroad tracks, you're getting a lot of dust, and it accumulates a lot faster than you could possibly imagine. Again, it only takes one little piece of metal that's stuck in your paint when you turn a machine on for it to cause you a lot of headaches. Yep. So I would say if you're concerned about the quality of air, the area that you live in, it's a great step for professional detailers. It's one additional step to ensure that they don't do damage to a car whose whereabouts or condition they're unsure of. And for you, the particular consumer, it's just one extra step to make sure that your slate is as clean as possible before you start hacking away at your paint job.
It's one of those extra steps that can really save you time and energy in the long run. You know, doing an extra step oftentimes feels like it's going to take more time, but when you use that iron and fallout remover, your mechanical decontamination is going to go much quicker and be much more effective, so you end up with a cleaner slate when you're completely finished, making for, you know, a better subsequent process and safer paint correction and so on. We got a really good one that came in. What was the first product that came out of Griot's garage? I'm assuming that's probably first liquid product.
Yeah, so
first product ever.
So when Griot's garage was founded, and my claim to fame is that I'm the only employee in the building right now, other than my dad, that ever went to our original facility in Vista, California. It was pretty much a closet compared to the facilities that we now operate in, but he did a third-party contracting with a chemical manufacturer. That is how a lot of people in this space currently have their chemicals manufactured. They specify a formula, they go through different iterations, and stuff that we all now do in-house. That was, you know, Richard's first attempt at creating a chemical line that met his standards, and that was back in 1992, 1993, as the earliest trace of those in the catalog. Before that, he was selling Audubon, which is a British brand that I think is still in existence, and very, very high quality product line. But his first 5 products were car wash, wheel cleaner, did I say window cleaner?
Not yet.
A car wash, window cleaner, a fast detailer, and Bestest wax. Now the window cleaner was one that he had a particular leg up on because my grandfather had a glass prism company, and they had to make sure that the glass that they were sending out in package was perfectly sterilized and clean because it was going to be used in commercial purposes. So my grandfather had actually developed this great window cleaning formula. My dad took it and ran with it and refined it for automotive glass, so it was ammonia-free and safe for window tint. And that formula, in its current iteration, that's compliant in all 50 states, came from, you know, those early formations. So from the very, very beginning, it was always about Richard and being particular, finding stuff that performed to his parameters. Now we manufacture over 100 different formulas that are all our own, that are developed in-house.
And Speedshine's our longest standing bestseller, right?
Yes, without a doubt.
One of the first.
Yeah, and Speedshine was introduced in 1994, so 25 years of Speedshine. Holy crap.
That's been a while. It's good stuff. This is a good one. What is your best all-in-one or one-step product for lightly swirled paint? So we have a few different all-in-ones. We have our one-step sealant, our liquid wax 3-in-1, and our finishing sealant are all grouped into that all-in-one category, where they'll remove light defects and apply protection in the same step. The one-step sealant and liquid wax 3-in-1 aren't designed for long throw orbital application. So if you're applying it with a long throw orbital like one of our Boss orbitals, you'll want to use the finishing sealant. Finishing sealant is going to be the best for softer paint finishes if you have issues with haze and things like that from more aggressive products. Finishing sealant is great for light swirl removal without adding any sort of haze, and a soft finish finishes down very nicely. Really quick and easy to use, but all of those products are great. Typically, one step I'll use for light to moderate, and then liquid wax 3-in-1 and finishing sealant I'll use for the lighter stuff where you don't need that extra cut. Let's see what else.
Thanks for your participation, guys. This is great.
Awesome
we're stoked. We're having fun. I don't know how much time has passed, but if you're still hanging on, hopefully we're doing our job correctly.
This is a good one. We no longer sell our chrome wheel cleaner, so we got a question. What product do you recommend for chrome rims for both cleaning and protecting?
So depending on, I usually steer people. We have 2 wheel cleaners that we offer. Our original formula wheel cleaner, which again has been in the company for years. It's approved by Dayton Wire Wheels, BBS, and TireRack.com. That is pretty much the wheel cleaner that is my baseline. If any wheel on the planet, I know that wheel cleaner can A, effectively clean, and B, not damage. Our heavy duty wheel cleaner has an active ingredient that is similar to that of iron and fallout that's meant to break down the ferrous metals that are common in brake pads. In particular, with our large affiliation with the German brands, They put soft brake pads on their cars to get better braking performance. Guess what? Higher brake dust means a lot more material on your wheel surface. So if you're experiencing excessive brake dust, I would start with heavy duty wheel cleaner. Both of those are pH neutral, safe on all wheel finishes. However, if it's a more antiquated chrome finish and you're not seeing a ton of brake dust buildup, stick with the original formula wheel cleaner. There's no need for that more aggressive and more expensive heavy duty wheel cleaner formula.
Great answer. For protecting chrome wheels, oh, you didn't cover that one.
No, I did not. No.
We got a couple different options for quickly protecting them after a cleaning. If you don't want to apply a wax or a sealant to them, our rinseless wash and wax at a 15-to-1 dilution ratio is an excellent product. You can spray it on, rinse it off the wheels, or dry it off the wheels. That'll apply protection, as well as Bestest spray wax. That's another product where you can spray on, wipe off for very stout protection for a spray-on product. Rinseless wash and wax and Bestest spray wax will hold up better on a wheel than our standard spray-on wax will. So those are normally the two I recommend if you want a spray product. And then for a base coat protection, our Polywax is a great way to go. That one's fully synthetic, so it'll protect for a longer period of time. And you can apply that to your chrome wheels just like you would your paint. You know, apply it with a red wax pad, allow it to set up for 20 to 30 minutes, and then buff it off.
Yeah, nobody's going to give you grief for waxing your wheels either. Some of the guys in our restoration shop give me a little bit of heat because I like to take my wheels off to clean them every once in a while. And if my wheels are coming off the car, they're getting decontaminated, they're getting waxed. It just has to be done. If you have the facilities to take your wheels off, clean them thoroughly, and wax them, it doesn't last as long as you'd like because of the heat cycles that your wheels generally go through, but it'll stave off that brake dust buildup for as long as possible.
And it's still well worth it. Nobody likes clean and filthy, dirty wheels, so whatever you can do to keep them cleaner longer and prevent them from getting as dirty is always beneficial.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, I've got one. Does claying or decontaminating remove wax or protection? Now, a couple years ago, before we introduced our surface prep line of products, I would say no, never. Because our original formula, clay bar, is abrasive free, and so there is no reason for it to be essentially abrading the surface and pulling your surface protection off. Even so, within our line of surface prep products, we have two essentially neutral or essentially abrasive free in our fine surface prep mitt and our brilliant finish synthetic clay foam pad that are abrasive free and will not affect protection. Now, if you go to our fast surface prep mitt, which is more aggressive and is meant for more significant decontamination, for a more significant correction process, you're most likely going to strip off your wax with that tool. Likewise, if you introduce our surface prep pad via orbital machine, you're almost always going to remove your wax. Now, I don't know that the same would hold true for a coating, but if you're decontaminating a coating with a machine, you're probably going a little overkill.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it will depend on the durability of what's on the paint too. Obviously, you know, coatings are very durable. Normally they require polishing or correction or even sanding sometimes to get them off effectively. A wax or a sealant, it'll depend on how durable it is, when you applied it, how long it's been on the paint, so on. But like Nick said, typically the less aggressive decontamination products aren't going to strip wax. They may slightly diminish the durability of it, and if you did that 4 or 5 times within a couple months, it would probably strip it. But the more aggressive decontamination products will be more likely to strip even a more durable wax or sealant.
Yeah, and if you're not using one of our decontamination tools, which is fine, you just want to check with the manufacturer to be sure that it is either A, abrasive free, or abrasive grade, a heavier or medium, whatever it may be. Anything with an abrasive built into that decontamination step is most likely going to reduce the wax on your paint a little faster.
This is a great question that we got. What are your thoughts on machine drying PFM microfiber towels versus hang or air drying them? My concern is lint pickup from the machine drying and or breakdown of the fibers themselves. So that's a great question for all microfiber, not just PFM. But
because PFMs are more expensive,
yes,
you probably are hyper concerned about them.
Want to take care of those.
Yeah, go for it.
Just as with paint correction and any other car care related process, I always like to err on the side of caution. Unless you're doing a huge load of towels, you're not going to save a ton of time machine drying them, and you will maintain a higher quality microfiber that's going to stay lint free longer if you keep them out of the dryer. We tend to dry our towels here because we do huge loads at a time. We'd have to have a huge drying rack to air dry all of them, so we'll machine dry them. If you do machine dry them, low heat or no heat setting. Most modern dryers have like a fluff air or no heat setting where it's just blowing air through the dryer and tumbling. Microfiber dries pretty quickly that way, but to avoid lint and issues altogether, air drying is the best way to dry microfiber towels.
Yeah, I in our garage where a bunch of my friends come over and wash their cars, and I have essentially a microfiber load altogether. I will machine dry my towels, but I just have to be sure that I clean out my lint trap. Before I do that, I do tumble dry. I do it for about 35 minutes, and that's generally enough. After they've been washed in the machine and they come out of a spin cycle, they're not extremely damp to begin with. So yeah, the biggest things to avoid are drying them with something that's cotton and introducing heat. You're going to pick up that cotton lint. It's going to clog up the microfiber. That's the quickest way to ruin your towels. Also fabric softener. Avoid that like the plague. If you have the privilege of creating enough microfiber laundry that you can do one load altogether, you can do it safely, but just be sure not to commingle it with anything that's cotton. That will ruin your day and your expensive microfiber.
And clean your lint filter. That's another big one. Lint from the lint filter can get spread back into the dryer, so that's not just limited to pulling the lint off the filter and tossing it in the garbage. Get the vacuum out. Some dryers you can pull out like the filter housing, clean that out, or vacuum it out. That'll help keep your towels lint free as well. Or we even have customers that have bought a separate dryer. Not everybody has the means to hook up a second dryer or washing machine in their house or garage, but not a bad idea. Pick up a used dryer or something like that. That'll definitely keep your wife happy, so you're not getting yelled at for leaving a ring of polish residue in your washing machine.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know.
My best friend who I used to detail with, his mom was helping us out and washed all our microfibers. Fabric softener killed probably $400, $500 worth of towels.
That's a good way to destroy all of your towels.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. What else?
I got a quick one. What is the difference between Bestest Show Detailer and Speed Shine? We get this question quite a bit. They are similar products, but they do have different properties, and obviously that's why you asked the question. Speed Shine, it is a true lubricant-based, quick detail product meant for light dust, bird droppings, pollen, fingerprints. It's the 5-minute detail. You go over your car, you can clean it up very easily. It also pairs well with our clay to lubricate the surface for decontamination purposes. It's safe on all painted surfaces, not ideal for glass, but can be used on glass in a pinch. And so really, it just does exactly what we want it to do. It cleans the car effectively and safely. Bestest Show Detailer can also be used for those light cleaning purposes. However, we don't recommend using it as a lubricant for a clay. And it does have a slight carnauba emulsion, so it will actually impart a finish. Part of the other thing we engineered it for is to be used in direct sunlight at a show, so that in that last moment, not only are you removing the last minute kind of touches and dust buildup before you're going to get judged, but you are imparting a little bit of a finish to just enhance the look of your car at that moment in time. So hopefully that explains the differences. They are very similar products. However, one is more of what we would qualify as a finishing detailer. The other one is a light duty cleaner and clay lubricant.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Bestest Show Detailer is going to be higher performing in direct sun at a car show too. Great one. And just maximum color depth and clarity, since that's a Bestest Show product. Awesome, guys. Should we do one more question? We're almost out of time here.
I got a little bit more time if
time
we want.
for one more.
Yeah,
let's see. This is kind of a funny one. Thanks, by the way, Fab Auto Detailing, for all your questions and engagement. He's got a good one here. Can we have the garage sale in Indiana again this year? Stupid question, but I really like the deals.
Yeah, everybody likes the garage sale.
I think we need a popular vote between Tacoma and Indiana for where the garage sale should be.
So if you haven't been to one of our garage sales, this is where we get all of our scratch and dent items that come back to our warehouse. when you're not perfectly happy with the condition that it arrives at your house in. So we evaluate all the products that come back to us if they are functioning. It could be as something as we'd send a lot of these jacks out there, 100-pound, 2-ton floor jacks, and they get a little scratch. Well, if you're putting in a very highly curated garage, that will piss you off. So you send it back to us, we send you another one. But we will sell that jack at the garage sale later that year. Now, Plainfield, Indiana, that is where all of our manufacturing, all of our distribution is done. Obviously, our headquarters over here in Tacoma, Washington. We've really gone back and forth as to where that garage sale typically happens. But maybe, again, if we get enough votes, and we'll do a poll on Facebook or something, see where you guys tell us that garage sale will be. But it's a wonderful thing where we're able to give you guys great prices on stuff that is still perfectly fine, but we understand the insistence upon you receiving our products in perfect condition.
Good one to finish off with here. Let's see. How do you deal with negative product reviews? We never get negative product reviews.
No, that's we do our best to literally hear everything. One of the things that Richard has always imparted to everybody in this building, there is no misunderstanding about this, is that we want customers for life. We do not want to lose you to a bad experience. So we hope that the first time you get a product from us, it exceeds your expectations, does exactly what you want it to do. But if you're ever dissatisfied, we're here to listen. Richard still answers the phone when somebody calls with a suggestion or a complaint. If it is something that becomes consistent within a particular product, for example, just, hey, this scent is a little too much for me, we may take a look at it. We have the ability to adjust our formulas so that not only do they continue to perform to the standard that we expect, but that they are pleasant to be used. So we take a negative review very seriously. We don't want you to be dissatisfied with what we are selling you. And again, it's the customers for life. We want you to enjoy your experience with Griot's Garage. I think we have an exceptional reputation for our customer service, and that will never change.
It's extremely important for us to hear your feedback, whether it be positive or negative. Of course, we like hearing those positive reviews as well, but the negative ones are just as important because, like Nick said, we're always striving to improve our products, and any way that you guys can help us do that, we're completely open to. Yeah. Some things take us a little longer than we would want them to for improving certain things and whatnot, but we are listening. Whether you've submitted negative reviews and haven't seen a change right away, don't worry, we've heard it, and we are always actively working to improve our products based on your customer feedback.
Yeah. So unless we've got anything in particular here, we're going to jump into one. We got a lot of questions, about ceramic coatings in general. So you already heard our thoughts and kind of progress with regards to developing a ceramic coating of our own. We'll answer more technical questions as it relates to questions you guys have for us about how to treat your ceramic coating, what products do I use with my ceramic coating, what are our thoughts in general about ceramic coating. So I'm going to just jump in at that point and say, this is from Jim W. on Facebook, or Daniel Gleason on Instagram, excuse me. What are your thoughts on ceramic coatings? I think ceramic coatings are wonderful. They are a progression of paint protection that really checks a lot of boxes. It gives you incredible durability, incredible water beating. If you're a person that loves to go out and wash your car consistently, it makes that process faster. It leaves less water on your paint. Is it the silver bullet and the perfect solution for everyone? No. Does it have some downsides? Yes. But if you have the time and or resources to have someone correct your paint, apply a coating, or you have the time to correct your paint yourself and apply a coating yourself, wonderful. This is an option that has come into our market and is here to stay. Now, again, we acknowledge that fact, and there are definitely products that can be used from our product line in conjunction with a ceramic coating. And I'll let you opine on coatings, and then we'll talk about those products.
I totally agree with you, Nick. I think coatings are awesome. My favorite part about coatings is they've really pushed everybody to increase and get better at their paint correction, because paint correction is imperative to coating application, which would be my number one recommendation to anybody interested in coatings or applying coatings. Is a lot like painting. You know, the majority of the work is in your prep. You want to do the absolute best paint correction you can, otherwise your coating is going to fall short. It's not going to look as good, it's not going to last as long. And once you've applied that coating, you essentially have to remove it to get defects out of the paint. So if you didn't correct the paint, you put a coating on, and then, you know, the coating highlights defects underneath it,
or it's not level,
you're going to have to polish that coating off the vehicle, remove those defects, and then reapply coating. Coatings typically are expensive, so doing that is not a very ideal scenario.
And that's a lot of time too. It's a lot of time you're spending.
A lot of time. The other thing is do your research. Like Nick mentioned earlier, there are a lot of companies that private label coatings. You know, as with anything, there are higher performing products and lower performing products out there. So do your research. There's a lot of great resources out there on YouTube, the Auto Geek forums, all kinds of places where people have done thorough testing and things where you can go find information that'll help you make an educated purchase.
Yeah, in fact, professional detailers are the best resource for them. They're the ones that use it the most. That coating, the coating technology has really allowed professional detailers to not only really offer a higher level of service, which equates to a higher level of income for them, but it just allows for all sorts of maintenance and you know, routine touching of customer cars. So it's been a great boon to the professional detailing industry. And again, those guys, they're the ones that are using it and doing it the most. So they're the most reputable. So you go on to an online detailer forum, you're going to cut through the weeds real quickly and find out which is the best stuff to use on it.
Lastly, remember, wax is not dead. There's still a place for wax and sealant. It's easy to use. It's less expensive. Yes, it doesn't last as long, but it's also much easier to reapply. So
yeah, and again, they're just some cars that you may never ever see the need or want for a ceramic coating. But on a daily driven car in the Northwest, man, it's pretty nice to wash your car that much quicker, drive it away while it's still raining, and guess what? You ain't even have to dry or put a dry towel on. So you know, they're here to stay. There's no question about that. And there are some really great ones out there. There are some bad ones out there. But yeah, it's not the silver bullet. But yeah, let's talk about some of the products that you can use with them.
That's what I was gonna say.
So this comes to us through our call center. What products can I use with my ceramic coating? Will we offer a ceramic coating? We already answered that. And will we offer any sprayable, you know, coating enhancements in the future? Now, I think that just to touch back on the ceramic coating product aspect, you know, just as much as the base coat of a ceramic coating, you know, is important. Every company will sell you something to maintain or revive or you know, just bolster the performance of that ceramic coating over the couple years. Generally, they're SiO2 silica-based products that accompany their coatings. Those are a little easier to formulate, and I think, again, we will be doing that in conjunction with a larger coating project. But in general, we have a ton of products that you can use with ceramic coatings right off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. Most all of our sprays, all of our car washes. The big thing to look out for with products that aren't compatible for ceramic coatings is anything with an abrasive in it. So any polished compound, clays that are abrasive, or, you know, decontamination products that are heavily abrasive.
Bad towels.
Like that. Bad towels.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of our sprays, Speed Shine, Best Show Detailer, spray on wax, even a lot of waxes you can put over a coating if you want to. So there's a lot of product compatibility across the board, although we don't make a coating yet.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed this YouTube Live. It's our very first one. It seems like there's quite a bit of activity. So
yeah, we didn't get to everyone's questions. So.
Yeah, so we'll respond to any questions that were posted in the comments with some answers in the near term. But thank you so much for joining us. Once again, if you like this session, throw us a thumbs up. Comment below. We're going to do more topical-based YouTube Lives in the future as well. And we can do more of these Ask Us Anything. I know I had fun.
Yeah, me too. And hit the subscribe button and let us know what you want to see.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your evening. Have fun in your garage.